You're listening to Tim Bulkeley's 5-Minute Bible. The E100 challenge is 100 Bible passages, about a chapter each usually, 50 from the Old Testament and 50 from the New, selected to give readers or listeners a sort of overview of the Bible, a framework into which to fit whatever else they read. I think it's a great idea. People in New Zealand are being challenged to follow the E100 over a period starting on the 18th of April. I'm hoping to podcast daily about it, to sync with the 100 readings. We'll see whether that comes off. Each 50, each testament, is divided into 10 fives. And on the whole, they've made a pretty good selection. The first 5 deals with the beginning of Genesis, the stories of creation, and of the human sin that spoils God's world that was made good, very good at the beginning. I'll talk about those 5 tomorrow. The pace picks up pretty fast because after the 5 for the beginning, the next 5 deal with the patriarchs. The call of Abraham, God's covenant with Abraham, Isaac's birth and near sacrifice, Jacob and Esau, and the reconciliation between those two. Joseph gets his own 5. It's an indication, I guess, of some of the focuses of the people who picked the stories. Moses and the Exodus are the next 5. The law and the land, the next 5. And then 5 on the judges. I'm glad that Deborah got her own. And I'm glad that Ruth gets in too. There's only so much of the rest of the judges you could stand, isn't there? Though Ruth isn't a judge. Then there's the rise of Israel with the stories of Saul and the rise of David. And then there's the fall of Israel with David and Bathsheba, Solomon, the temple, Elijah and the prophets of Baal, and the fall of Jerusalem. The kings get pretty short shrift, don't they? Then 5 for the Psalms and Proverbs. Also getting pretty short shrift, at least the Psalms. And then 5 for the prophets. Yep. This E100 doesn't give each Bible book its proportional space. It's a selection, and as a selection it has to be selective. And although I do things a bit differently, and so would you probably if you know the Bible well, it's a pretty good selection. From there we move into the New Testament. The first section being called the Living Word. It's great. It gives time to the beginning of the Gospel, with John's prologue and Luke's account of the birth of Jesus, a reading for John the Baptist, and the temptation. Another 5 for the teachings of Jesus, 2 for the Sermon on the Mount, 1 for the Kingdom of Heaven, and the Good Samaritan and Lost and Found parables get a look in too. There are 5 miracles, and just 5 readings for the cross. The Last Supper, the arrest and trial, the crucifixion, the resurrection, and the ascension. Yep, they've had to be highly selective. 5 more for the story of Acts. 5 for the travels of Paul, separated out from the rest of the story of Acts. Then 5 for the Pauline epistles. Romans chapter 8, you couldn't miss that, could you? A bit from Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. And then a whole 5 for Paul to the leaders, with readings from 1 and 2 Timothy, and from Thessalonians about the coming of the Lord Jesus. And then 5 about the apostles' teaching, which jumps about, back to 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, 1 Peter, James, and 1 John. Interesting the way they've organised that. I'll have to think about that when I come to doing the New Testament part. But that's a fair way off now. And then 5 for the book of Revelation. And if they puzzle you, you can always get Laurie Guy's book to help you out. So that's the E100. And hopefully over the next 100 days, 100 podcasts from me. Though maybe some of them will be a bit shorter than the 5 minutes of the 5-Minute Bible. I hope you listen to some of them at least. And even more, I hope you read the E100 yourself, if you haven't done it before. A great way to get an overview of the Bible. Bye for now.